2021 meeting of the Village of Lake Bluff Board of Trustees. A clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Inkeman.
Here.
Trustee Brian.
Here.
Trustee Fisher.
Here.
Trustee Markey.
Here.
Trustee Ryder.
Here.
Trustee Rappin. And That's it, weird.
Trustee Ryder. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Trustee Ryder.
Yep.
Got her.
Present.
So a notice was received by a member of the board, Trustee Fisher, in accordance with the village electronic attendance policy, and Trustee Fisher will be deemed authorized to attend the meeting electronically unless a motion objecting to the member's electronic attendance is made, seconded, and approved by 2/3 of the members of the board physically present at the meeting. If there is no such motion, then the request by Trustee Fisher to attend the meeting electronically is deemed approved. Trustee Fisher is deemed present for this meeting. Thank you very much. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you.
Please stand with me and join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation honoring the public service of Postal Clerk Karen Godbold. Sure. Welcome.
Thank you.
It is a proclamation honoring Karen Godbold, whereas the United States Code affirm that the Postal Service shall be operated as a basic and fundamental service and shall have as its basic function the obligation to provide postal services to bind the nation together through the personal, educational, literary, and business correspondence of the people. And whereas the nation and the village rely on dependable and dedicated postal service workers who play a critical role in upholding the creed that neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. And whereas Karen Godbold, one of the village's postal service workers, is known for her delivery of good conversation and smiles, I can prove that, to village residents in addition to assisting with their postal service needs. And whereas Karen Godbold will retire on Friday, October 29th, 2021 from the United States Postal Service after proud service for over 33 years as a sales and service associate, during which time her positive attitude and contribution touched many lives through the village. And whereas the village desires to join its residents to have expressed their gratitude to Karen Godbold on the occasion of her retirement. Now therefore, I, Régis Charlot, village president of the village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, do hereby offer a sincere thank you to Karen for assisting with our mail with a personal touch, many smiles, and a spirit of friendship, and recognize and congratulate Karen Godbold for her many contributions to the village and its residents, and that such recognition and gratitude of the village of Lake Bluff be publicly expressed to Karen Godbold for her service to the community, and that this proclamation be incorporated in the minutes of this village board meeting, and that an executive copy of this proclamation be presented to Karen Godbold as a token of appreciation for her service to the village. Thank you very much. Dear Mrs. Godbold, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
That's our gift to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the best news.
Right.
Thank you again.
Next is a consideration of the minutes of October 11th, 2021 Village Board regular
Oopsie.
meetings.
No problem.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good night.
Thank you again. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
I'm sorry, there was one correction. Trustee Ryder pointed out that the header on the minutes reflect a virtual meeting, and it was not, in fact, it was a regular meeting, so thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you. Any more discussion, any more change?
I have Marquis and Ryder as one and two.
So I read this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Next is our non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocate 15 minutes during this term for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Do we
Mr.
have-
President, there's members participating. If someone would like to speak at this time, please do so by raising your hand through that option through the Zoom. If there's none, then there's none. Looks like there's none.
Okay. Next is our village finance report, or sets of reports. The first report is our warrant reports for October 12 to October 25, 2021. Is there a motion to approve a warrant?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. This report is for expenditures of village funds for payment of invoices in the amount of $465,411.54 for October 12 to October 25, 2021. Again, total expenditures are $465,411.54. Documents and reports are attached are the warrant report for October 12 to October 25, again for $465,000 and $465,411.54. The invoice register report shows checks with a status of open or paid. All checks with a status of open are computer-generated checks for the board's final approval. Checks with a status of paid are manual checks processed. Any questions? No questions? Seeing none, this is a voice vote.
Roll call.
It's a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Brian?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Marquis?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Our next item is the September 2021 financial report. Mrs. O'Connell?
Good evening. So in summary, the monthly sales tax revenue on a cash basis for September of '22 is $400,471, which is $50,645 or 14.5% greater than the fiscal year '21 cash basis receipts of $349,826. The FY '22 year-to-date sales tax revenue is $441,647 greater than the May through September '21 cash basis receipts. Also included at your seats was a chart in response to President Charlo's question with regards to historical snapshots of revenue. The first chart is general fund revenue. Gives you a historical snapshot of those revenues broken out in property tax, sales tax, home rule, state income tax, and the green line being the year-to-year change percentage. And then in summary, just the sales tax snapshot from 2007 to 22 year-to-date respectively with those year-over-year changes too. Does anyone have any questions on that data? Okay. Building permit revenue for fiscal year 22 to date is $200,001, which is $75,250 greater than the same reporting period for last fiscal year. General fund FY 22 total revenues of $6,685,948 are $1.4 million or 26.9% greater than September of fiscal year 21 year-to-date revenues. And FY 22 current expenditures are consistent with or less than budgeted. The year-to-date expenditures of $4,181,465 are $480,027 greater than the expenditures for the same period in 21.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, this is a voice vote. Are there any questions? It is a voice vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Was there a motion?
I don't think we have a motion or a
We had
second.
a
No,
motion.
there wasn't a motion or a second.
Not enough in the report.
Motion to accept the finance report? So, second?
Thank you. So this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Next is a consideration to the fiscal year 2021 comprehensive annual financial report. Is there a motion to approve this financial report?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Thank you. The comprehensive annual financial report provides a complete picture of a village financial health. It is comprised of a basic financial statements with footnotes, a transmittal letter, a management and discussion analysis, detailed fund level statements with budget comparisons and statistical information for past 10 years. The village received an unmodified opinion from its auditors, Sikich, that the financial statements are fairly presented in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles. This represents the highest opinion that an organization can receive. At their October 11th meeting, the Finance Committee reviewed the comprehensive annual report with Martha Trotter, Senior Audit Manager with Sikich, and voted unanimously to recommend to the Village Board acceptance of the fiscal year 2021 comprehensive annual report. The fiscal year 2021 comprehensive annual report is available on the Village website, and printed bound copies are available at Village Hall, the Public Safety Building, and the Lake Bluff Library. So congratulations for obtaining such a level of
Thank you.
quality on our financials. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions to Bettina?
Just so the board knows, Dan Berg, principal with Sikich, is on the line too, if you have any questions for Dan.
Well, one question I just wanted to ask, I know we had the assistant finance person, kind of that position outsourced, and so I wanted to know the impact of that, and as well as working remotely for really kind of a second year with the audit, how that kind of impacted the work that you had to do.
So I'll address the second question first, sorry. So I think the remote work with the auditors just kind of fell into place, because in the prior year, prior to COVID, we were already loading and using a remote site, if you will, to give them a lot of information. So it was just kind of move forward with the same process as far as we were concerned internally. We saw less of them face to face, but we did Zoom and see each other, online, just as, you have with your meetings. So in that regard, I think it went pretty much the same as it always has. I don't know if Dan, you want to speak to that?
No, I agree. The fact that the village already scans its invoices made that transition to a remote setting last year not too difficult, and that combined with our portal that's secure and enables the village to upload anything we ask for in a secure manner. It worked very well.
Yep, thank you. So in regards to the first question, I think as with any new process, there's always a certain set of transition that we went through in training the outsourced accountants that are working for us. I think as of late, insofar as the last 6 months or more, that transition's it's gone. It's pretty smooth. They know their workflow. They know they come in and do, the routine tasks that are expected and occasionally some other extra items. Have things changed in their dynamic? Yes, there's a physical presence missing a little bit. So some of the things that that person used to do in office have reverted to me, which is the net difference in how things flow. But I think overall, it's worked out fairly well.
Well, thank you for working through those transitions, because I know that that's a savings to the village and an efficiency that, is gained through that work. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Any more questions to Bettina? So hearing none, this is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is our village administrator's report. Mr. Irvin?
I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Followed by our village attorney's report. Mr. Friedman, do you have a report tonight?
No report tonight.
Thank you. Next is item number 10. The appointment of Marietta Hans and Alexa Richer to the Sustainability and Community Enhancement Ad hoc Committee. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
A second?
Second?
Thank you. Subject to the consent of the Board of Trustees, the village president appoints members to the village various advisory boards and commissions. Village President Charlot recommends the appointment of Marietta Hans and Alexa Richer to serve on the Sustainability and Community Enhancement Ad hoc Committee. To this, I would like to say that I've had a lot of discussions with the various members and prospective members to this board. From my standpoint, environment is a very, very cherished subject in the village, and that goes for our water, stormwater, the water absorption, the trees in the village, our environment, open lands, and native plantings in the village. And so while it might seem light in subject, I believe it is extremely important, and we really need to assist that board for providing us advices. Any questions? I would like to also comment that Mrs. Hans is the president of the Garden Club, and Mrs. Richer is a high school student. If this is a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Next is our acceptance of a correspondence. Please note all correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational reports on October 8th and October 15th, 2021. Is there a motion to accept the correspondence?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brienne?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkeman?
Aye.
Passes.
Thank you. Next is item number 12, a resolution renewing, restating, and amending resolution number 2020-31 regarding outdoor food and beverage service during the COVID-19 emergency. Is there a motion to approve a resolution?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. of the many businesses within the village that have been adversely affected by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, food and beverage service establishments have been particularly hard hit. FBSEs, the food and service beverage establishments, are crucial parts of the social and economic fabric of a village and have worked diligently and creatively to continue operations and provide service to the residents of a village and neighboring communities. Through the pandemic, the village has recognized that strict enforcement of certain requirements of the Lake Bluff Municipal Code, as amended, including Title 10 of the Village Code, zoning regulations, that would otherwise apply to outdoor service may not be practicable or desirable. To that end, on May 27, 2020, the village passed resolution number 2020-31, outdoor service resolution, to authorize FBSEs to use village streets and sidewalks for outdoor service until the earlier of 1, the governor's authorization for restaurants to resume indoor dining, and 2, 90 days from its effective date. On February 3rd, 2021, Region 9, Lake and McHenry County, moved to Phase 4 of the Restore Illinois plan, which allowed restaurants and bar establishments to resume limited indoor dining operations. The village board met on February 8, 2021, as the committee of the whole, and discussed how the greater community and FBSEs might benefit from continuing to allow the use of village streets and sidewalks for outdoor service. Ultimately, the village board expressed to the extent the outdoor service resolution in order to permit use of village streets and sidewalks by local businesses until the end of 2021, resolution number 2021-6. On June 11, 2021, the state moved to Phase 5 of the Restore Illinois plan, which allowed FBSEs to resume without limitations. Governor Pritzker issued an indoor mask mandate that took effect on Monday, August 30, 2021, which provides that FBSEs may offer unlimited outdoor and indoor on-premise service, provided indoor face coverings are worn by employees and dining customers regardless of their vaccine status. At this time, Block 1 FBSEs are requesting the village extend use of village property until December 2022. An informal survey of Block 1 tenants and the recent community-wide downtown streetscape poll found general support for this approach. Any comment and discussion?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity for people to dine outdoors, regardless of the weather, regardless of the status of their vaccination. I think that in general, it has created an opportunity for those who are maybe reluctant to dine indoors to still participate, enjoy the benefit of going out, and also just to continue to foster the sense of community that the food and beverage service establishments provide. I think it's important that we extend this just because we don't really know what the next few months brings, the next 6 months, the next 12 months. So I think this gives us flexibility to provide something that's been very successful and to provide more opportunities for people to just get out and enjoy life as almost as normal as possible.
Thank you. Trustees?
I agree with Barbara.
Thank you.
I do as well.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I'm the outlier as usual. I disagree only not in what you're saying and support, but I think this is an incredibly dangerous condition that was necessary during an emergency. It's true, nobody has a crystal ball, but I think we'd be the only people doing it. All the other tents are gone. People are dining out. There's a vaccine, et cetera, et cetera. But asking employees and patrons alike to continue to cross a lane of traffic when they can dine inside, and they do. I was just in one of these establishments, and it was full of unmasked people. Is questionable, and the fact that it is dangerous is evidenced by, despite the support from the police, it is saying, well, we haven't had any accidents yet. We're asking people to expect people walking across the street, some of whom are consuming alcohol. And I just think that we are way past where we were when this was set up. So I just can't continue to support something when everybody, I drive past that a lot. I just did on Thursday night, and there was no one up there, and it wasn't a bad night to be outside. I think people are dining inside. I've been to concerts. I've been to establishments all up and down the North Shore, and they're full of people. So what I would hope is that we could utilize the parking spaces directly in front of the establishments to make this safer, so that the opportunity is there, but that we don't, people are out driving again, and let's face it, this is dangerous. Turning left and hoping you don't hit a pedestrian is just not a good scenario. So I'm wondering why we don't copy what other communities like Glenview and others have done, where it's Wilmette, Evanston, where it's in those parallel spots directly in front. Would it mean getting rid of the tent? Yes, but it would be so much safer, and it would still accomplish what you're talking about, but without the concern of somebody getting hurt. I just think that that's something we should consider. And so
So instead of the one-way that goes to the west, there would be like a one-way to the east?
No,
Is
that
that
it
what
would
you
be
mean?
two-way, but you would do like, if you go over in Lake Forest on,
Create parklets.
where the gallery is. It's right in, it's directly in front. You go to the Glen, everything's directly in front. Wilmette and Evanston
So-
allowed it, but it was always directly in front.
So let me rephrase what your request is. In effect, you're absolutely for people continuing to have a dining experience outside, but you have a concern on security for especially Block 1, where we have a lane of traffic in between the restaurants and serving space. And your suggestion is to move that serving space directly adjacent to the sidewalk on the north side and have a lane of traffic on the south side.
Well, you could, I mean, I think you could make it so, for example, I know that seems counterintuitive. I'm talking about 2 lanes. I just don't think we need, especially during the winter, we don't need as much dining outdoors. And then again, you're right. If something happens, I think now that the vaccine exists, it's unlikely but possible. But we've just entered such a different phase of where we were. This was totally legitimate when it was created, because we were in a unprecedented period. And we're so far past where we were in 2020.
I think we have a situation where the business is running, having business on that stretch or having experienced the pandemic are extremely hesitant. They are extremely careful and apprehensive of what could happen in the future, and they do not want to have options removed from them. And so the point is to have all the possibilities for them to do business and for us not to limit their possibility of business. Those are the type of conversation I've had. Now, if there is a possibility to move that tent from one side of the street to the next street, maybe that is one thing we should consider.
No, I mean, I was proposing getting rid of the tent. There is nothing like that anywhere except in the Glen, where there's a lot more room. But Chief's tent is gone, tents are gone. They're just gone because people have moved on, and indoor dining is a thing now. People are moving on.
So you could.
Can I just interject? I'm just gonna jump in because I can't tell if I'm delayed or not. I do see tents in Highwood still, but I agree with Kate that the tents and any of the alternative seating, outdoor seating in neighboring communities, it is located right off the sidewalk of the restaurant, of the establishment itself. So I do appreciate Kate bringing up the safety concern. I'm curious, Kate, why One other thing I would say is also realistically, once we're really deep in the winter, I don't know, do the establishments plan on having heating options for inside the current tent? Because I know I'm not gonna really be excited about sitting outside in the tent in the cold. So though I'm very supportive of maintaining and keeping the options open, I think we could do a little more digging into why. I guess my question was going to be directed to Kate. Why not have the tent on the opposite side?
Well, I've talked to
Why-
somebody that works there, and they, and I'm not gonna name names, but crossing that lane of traffic, it's perilous for them. They're thinking about
No,
other
what
things.
I mean is why not move the, let's get rid of the crossing the street, but move the tent. You had mentioned let's get rid of the tent, and I wanted to know if there was something I didn't know as far as logistically or like structurally, can we not put the tent on the north side of the street?
I don't know. I mean, the tent is huge. I think you would have to talk to all the tenants of Block 1, including the owner of the bank.
Let's ask Mr. Irvin.
Yeah, so the comment I was gonna make is, I don't think the tent fits in the parklet scenario. It's too large to fit in that area. But I think maybe if you wanted to quote Member Fisher, the splitting of the baby, but the idea that if you wanted to authorize use of the tent through the first quarter, I know the brewery has said that they have people who want to use the tent, actually like clients and people, customers that want to set up special events, and they do have heating planned for the tent and have used it in the past and want to use it again, so that we could do that and look at moving towards the parklet, which, and occupy the parallel stalls in the warmer months and kind of migrate towards that. And that this would provide, the resolution would provide the pathway. You wouldn't have to do anything differently other than you can direct me to work with them to achieve that goal.
But yeah, or change the date and say until March 31st, 2022, and then we can revisit this again. But that just seems like that's 14 more months. That's an incredibly long period of time to sustain this.
I think it's just to the end of the, isn't it a year?
And this is just where my head goes, is I think that will have been almost 3 years, and I think it's too much to hope for, to think that something might not happen. But if we do it through the winter months, if they've made plans, and then we revisit this and say, okay, now where are we? To Trustee Ankerman's point, we don't know where we're going, but we do know that for all intents and purposes, we are past the worst of this, and I think safety is a consideration we just can't ignore.
I think Kate brings up a great point with the safety, but procedurally, saying that we would like to extend it through the end of the calendar year, I think it frees us to maybe make that same decision to say we're not going to do it at some future point in time, but we don't procedurally have to authorize it to extend it. I mean, is that right? Because we could say, let's say in May of next year, we could say we don't feel the need to continue the use of the tent. We could, but we may say that we don't. What I'm saying is that by authorizing it through the end of the calendar year, doesn't that give us more options without going through this process again?
Well, the resolution is written in such a way that I can work with the merchants to see it through based off the direction I'm given here. So you can approve this resolution as written. It goes to the end of the calendar year, so roughly the end of
Right.
December.
But it doesn't mean that we have to keep the tent there till the end
No,
of the
that's what I'm
calendar
saying, is
year.
I can work
Yes.
with the merchants to make a plan to transition to a parklet scenario. And the
Right.
tent would go away, and so,
Right.
yes,
Right.
And so when you said the end of the calendar year, that would be this year or next year?
Next year.
Next year, okay, thank you very much.
The other thing I wanted to say is my sister just got COVID. We're not out of the woods, and I've dined indoors once, and I appreciate having outdoor options. I mean, everyone has a different level of comfort. I understand some people will just be in a restaurant and not feel uncomfortable, but I like the idea of having options.
and that's what the merchants are saying, that people are just not
Yes, yes.
comfortable, 100% of their clients
Exactly. It just
are not-
gives
yeah.
options.
And talking to the different merchants on Block 1 and Block 2, people are still very afraid of what could happen next, and they want all options on the table. Even though people might decide to dine inside,
Right.
they want to be able to have a possibility. One of his merchants said that a full day of business was $75.
I'm sorry, what?
A full day of service for one of the merchants was $75. It is why they are afraid, and we need to support, and we need to to really make sure that they can survive this event.
So I had a question. Why did we put it on the other side of the street to begin with? I wasn't on the board at the time. There must have been a reason.
So the idea was, when this first rolled out, was there was a great push by restaurateurs to educate their customer base to order and do takeout. So the idea, for convenience sake, that people have the ability for cars to pull up, parallel park and access, whether it be the brewery or Mavry's or B Market, to come in and be able to pick up and leave
I see.
with ease. And then also the idea that the footprint on the south side was much larger.
Yeah,
And the idea that it also kept the bank access open,
I see.
which was
Okay.
critical. And then also, we didn't know the extent, and there have been times when there has been overflow into the Village Green in terms of people being in the space, and we wanted to have the flexibility to grow and have that footprint to grow in. So that, at the time, this was the best plan. We worked with the merchants. They said, yeah, let's try it. And they acknowledged that it's not ideal from a service standpoint to not to be directly in front of the shops, but they thought this would work, and it's worked. I mean, I think the truth is they've done really well over the summers, but things ebb and flow with whatever's happening with COVID, and here we are in a state where it's a little in flux again.
The other comment I would make is that 14 months does seem like a long time, and during that period of time, they could rely on the notion that they're going to have this for 14 months. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't we say through May? And so the summer months, there would be some move to get rid of the tent, presumably? They wouldn't just presume they're going to have it for another full year, I guess, because during the summer, the tent is less critical, right?
Well,
I don't know. I just seemed like 14 months is a long time to
So-
grant this.
There's something counterintuitive, because the streetscape study showed that people like dining on the street. So having a tent is actually a nice utility for these businesses to continue business outside. Now, to Trustee Bryan's point, why don't we consider moving the tent on the north side and put temporary marking on the street to redirect cars? I think there is power for people to be able to do business in the street.
I think at some point it's not going to be feasible anymore. I agree with Trustee Ryder. 14 months is a long time, but the point is that these people, like you're saying, they have plans already. They're going to make more. Oh, the village board gave us the permission to do this through December 2022, and then to come at a later date and arbitrarily say, that's why I'm suggesting we shorten it. It's just a matter of changing a date and saying, we're using parking spaces. No, people are not parking at Metro. They don't want to cross the street. We're taking up a ton of parking spaces. I think we start to have to weigh the benefits and the costs to this. I understand supporting businesses. I was in the restaurant business for years. I get it. They've gotten a ton of support from other sources. But we also have to be realistic that things are changing, and they changed from the time this was originally done. People could get those little igloos. They could do all kinds of things. There are other ways to make this worth their while without being this enormous tent. That's all I'm saying. I think 14 months is too long.
I understand about the safety issues, so I hadn't really thought a whole lot about that until you brought it up, Kate, and I understand. I can see how that could be a concern, but I feel like everyone I've talked to, every time I've walked by that area, and I walk a lot with my dog, I always see people in there, and I feel like it adds value to the community from the sense that it builds camaraderie. I might be walking along there, and then I see someone I know, and I stop and chat, someone I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And I feel like the businesses, the restaurant owners are really trying to do their best to keep it safe. I'm wondering, are you talking more of a safety issue at night? Because
At dusk, specifically when you're driving into the western setting sun, it's incredibly dangerous.
I'm just wondering if there's a way, and maybe not exactly that, but we make it, we light it more. We have some temporary lighting in there that, so as the wait staff is crossing the street, as it's getting dark, we have more light. That wouldn't solve the dusk problem, but at least it would create a safer working environment for them. I do think businesses and residents like it, and I would I would feel bad if all of a sudden we just dismantled it and took it down at some point.
I guess my final point would be to what President Charlot just said. I think once the businesses come to rely on this, you're gonna hear the same argument to extend it through 2023. And then we're gonna be in a position where we're not gonna be able to, in good faith, take it away because they've gotten support from other places, financial support. So this could become just, when do we say that the use of public space for private gain is, if not 2020, the end of 2022, then
So,
I'm just foretelling that restaurants run on thin margins. If they see this as an opportunity, they're gonna ask for it again, and then what'll be our reason for saying no?
so I can see from an argument standpoint that you have an argument. I could put the adverse argument that is, we really want them to continue sustaining our town. So to this effect, I would like to put on the table, let's change December 2022 to, let's say, June 1st, 2022. And let's revisit this subject on a few weeks before June 1st, 2022. Are you amenable to that? Could we have
I
a
am.
consensus on that?
I would be amenable to that.
I can do
Okay.
that.
Yes?
Yep.
So,
And I'd like to point out, I think the idea of lighting would be key. It just would be something that would be their responsibility, but I would like to encourage them to do it because
Yeah.
I'm sure we've all seen it, been up there, outside and thought, oh my gosh, somebody just, whoo.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of little kids, everybody. So I think that's a great point, that perhaps we can go back to them and
Yes.
say, listen, this is predicated on making this a safer circumstance for both patrons and employees alike. Because none of us would feel good if, God forbid, something happened, and I'm just trying to keep that.
so this subject is going to receive a lot more attention with Block 1 streetscape anyways. So this is a conversation that is not going to go away, okay?
Yep.
Are there any more discussion on this item?
I would just say two things. One of the things when I did my informal poll of talking to all the tenants and the building operators, one of the things I heard was the general consensus was, we want to find a way to support these businesses. At the same time, it'd be nice to beautify this area more. Not so much lighting, but the idea that more landscaping, other, treatments visually to improve the look. So one of the things, one of the restaurateurs said they'd be willing to participate if the village was going to extend it, they would do more to beautify the area. I want to throw that out there. That was one of the concerns I had heard. Practically speaking, I'm trying to imagine how we might light the area better. I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit with the merchants, try to figure out if there's a way to do that.
Well, you
And-
could do it from the tent. This primarily falls, I think, on the brewery because I don't know what the relationship is with Mavory for the use of the tent, but since they have
don't.
electricity in the tent, you could use spots going out onto the street somehow to illuminate the street. Because we're talking about now, from, probably next week on, it's evening temperatures are gonna be so low that not a lot of people are gonna be in the space other than a heated tent. Because I think they do heat the tent.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a solution, is that they investigate just some, if they can do it. I don't know enough about how they can
So
do it.
let's have a conversation with those, with lights and see how this conversation reflects on their,
I'll bring it back. No
Thank
pun
you.
intended, right?
perfect.
But I'll bring that back. And just so, am I hearing, is it the end of the second quarter or the end of May? Just so I'm,
May.
June
We said the
1st.
end of May.
May
June 1.
31st,
June 1st.
June
June 1st, whatever.
So if there is any more conversation, I will ask for a voice vote on this item.
Need to amend it.
Do a new motion.
Is it a
I move
motion?
to amend,
There,
There we go.
Barbara, but she made the.
yes, I move to amend the date on this resolution to reflect May 31st or June 1st as the expiration.
Any s-
Second that.
Thank you. And that would be a, what is it?
Voice vote.
It's a voice vote.
Well, I made the motion. Do we need a second?
Karen,
Karen.
got it.
Sorry, I'm sorry, you're not here and I
So,
didn't
all in
screen.
favor?
did. Hello, Taryn.
Karen seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. The motion carries for the date. Now we need to have a vote on this motion, on this document, correct? Or are we done?
And that's, you're done.
No, it's
we're done.
approved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the June 1st date, with the goal to try to get lighting.
Yes.
All right, great, thank you.
And
Thank
so
you.
would the procedurally, since trustee Ankerman brought it up, would we revisit this then at a time, some maybe perhaps in April? Or how would we handle a predictable request to extend it?
Yeah, so in the conversation with the merchants that I'll be having, I'll have that conversation with them at the same time. Say, look, this is coming up June 1. They're going to want to talk about this again and see if there's a necessity to do it or not, and have that. We'll plan it just like this. I mean, it's October. We're talking about January 1, so we have a big enough cushion that people don't have to jump too fast.
Thank you very much. Next is item 13, a resolution approving a landscape waste composting agreement by and between the Village of Lake Bluff and DK Organics LLC. Is there a motion to approve a resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second?
Thank you. Since 1994, the village has contracted with DK Organics of Lake Bluff, Illinois, DK, for the processing of all yard waste delivered to the Public Works Center by village crews and residents, as the agreement. In November 2008, the village reviewed and renewed the agreement with DK. Then the village extended the agreement on November 25, 2013 for a period of 2 years, and entered into a flat fee agreement with DK for the same scope of services in October 2015 and again in 2018. This agreement expires at the end of November. The village and DK's partnership continues to be mutually beneficial in that the village reduces its fees for household waste collection, secures quality material for village and resident landscape needs, and furthers the village sustainability efforts, reducing carbon footprint and locally recycling yard waste and food scraps. Notwithstanding a request for an annual increase in fees by $2,000, village staff is recommending continuing the relationship with DK for a period that coincides with a recently approved household waste franchise agreement, as it remains the best environmental, logistical, and economic option. Public Work Superintendent Jack Terlap will attend Monday night's meeting to answer any questions. Do we have questions on this board? Questions? This is a roll call. If no more questions, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Trustee Inkman?
Aye.
Trustee Brienne?
Aye.
Next is item 14, a resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the Design Engineering Services Agreement for the fiscal year 2022 water main improvement project. Is there a motion to approve a resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. On April 12, 2021, the village board approved a resolution authorizing the execution of a design engineering services agreement with Gewalt Hamilton Associates, also known as GHA. GHA to perform engineering services for the village fiscal year 2022 water main improvements project in the amount of $22,974. This agreement included design engineering of water main improvements on Ascot Court, Newman Court, East Sheridan Place, Evanson Avenue, and East Blodgett Avenue. The initial engineering uncovered that it would be necessary for the village to secure easements on private property to complete improvements for properties along East Sheridan Place. Unfortunately, acquiring these land rights will take too much time to be considered for inclusions in the fiscal year 2022 water main replacement project. To maintain the minimum investment in the village water system infrastructure for this fiscal year and continue the engineering of the East Sheridan Place improvements to be ready by fiscal year 2023, it is recommended that the village expand the scope of services with GHA to design the replacement of existing 4-inch water main on Ravine Avenue for a fee not to exceed $12,578. In accordance with the village purchasing policy, a change order for this amount requires the approval of the village board. The village engineer recommends that the village board approves the change order to the design engineering services agreement with Gaywalt and Milton Associates for the increase in services for the design of the fiscal year 2022 water main improvement project. Questions?
So I have one. The original project was 22 or almost 23,000, and there are at least a lot of streets involved: Ascot Court, Newman Court, East Sheridan Place, Evanston Avenue, and East Blodgett. We're taking away East Sheridan Place, so one of 5 of those streets, and putting in Ravine Avenue, and the price of the project is going up by 1,300, 12.5. Is this amount of space that they're covering on Ravine Avenue substantially more expansive than what they were going to do on East Sheridan Place? It just seems like a large, as a percentage increase, it's 60% again of the cost of the 23,000 that we're now paying again, for a total of
Maybe it's not
35.
clear. It's additive. East Sheridan Place is staying. It's just that engineering work is going to continue. It's just more complex and involves land acquisition rights. And so that work is going to continue. We're just looking to add Ravine so that we can bid and construct.
I see. So it says it's going to take too long to get East Sheridan Place improvements to be ready,
Which is really the land the easement rights.
but we're nonetheless going to do that work?
Fine. We're gonna go out and keep chasing that, so we bring that to you next fiscal year, so that work can get done.
I see. So they're still going to do the work on it?
Everything we can, but it is very unlikely, in fact, improbable that it'll be ready for bid to package and bundle with all these projects because of the easement rights we would need to get by working with residents, and that always takes time.
I see. So we're packaging and bundling Ravine work instead?
We're adding that work
Adding
because
that work.
it's a much more simple project. It's an old 4-inch main cast iron that we would replace very simply. And if I'm missing something, Jeff, please jump in.
Which ravine is it?
Ravine Avenue, not
That's
Ravine.
perpendicular to Moffett, right there, just north of the ravine. What were the termination limits of that 4-inch main, Jeff? Does it go out down to Sunrise?
Is it the one between Evanston and Artesian, or the one that between Sunrise and Moffett?
Moffett.
Yeah, Sunrise and Moffett.
Okay.
Right, Jeff? I see you there. We can't hear you if you're speaking. We can blame Wisconsin air. Too dense. Jeff, are you with us? But it's that, the east-west
to the-
from, I believe it's from Sunrise west to Glen.
So again, this is just the engineering of it, it's not the construction of the
Construction.
work.
It's designed.
It's the engineering
I
design
see.
work, yes.
I understand now. Thanks.
Jeff, are you there?
He's ringing.
And the hits keep coming. So,
Okay, so, well, I guess we will not have Jeff's answer.
but that is the answer.
We'll take your
I
word
was
for
hoping
it.
Jeff
Drew.
would sprinkle in some other details, but perhaps not.
So we have an answer for you.
If we have a sufficient answer for my question, yes.
Yes, okay. I'm sorry about that. Any more questions to Drew? No? So this is a roll call.
Trustee Markey.
All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
So clerk, please call the roll. I'm sorry.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye?
Trustee Inkman.
Aye.
Trustee Brienne.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is our trustees' report. Do any trustee wish to make a report this evening? So next, thank you very much. Next is our executive session. I understand that we have an executive session tonight. Might I get a motion to go into closed session to discuss pending litigation?
So moved.
A second?
I'm sorry, it's pending litigation, it's sale of real property
And
and collective bargaining.
Yes.
So pending litigation,
sale.
land sales and collective bargaining. So I
So,
ha-
so moved.
a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Inkeman,
Aye.
trustee Brienne,
Aye.
trustee Fisher,
Aye.
trustee Markey. Aye. Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Thank you. This concludes the open part of the village board meeting. Thank you to anyone in attendance and have a great evening.